All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'd like to thank my judge. I'd like to thank our audience, and I'd like to thank our opposition team for being here. I'd like to thank my colleague Wes, too. All right, let's get to the resolution. The United States should throw off the shackles of the Electoral College. Let's go over some definitions. The U.S. will define contextually. Should throw off, it's a call to action, to take away. Shackles will define as restraint, confining, to restrict, or hamper. And the Electoral College will define contextually as well. All right, we're going to call this a policy debate because there's a call to action. The criteria we'd like you to judge this upon is net benefits through the increase of the democratic process. So, in other words, whoever can show better on their side by taking the shackles off the Electoral College or keeping them on, if it would increase the democratic process on either side, that's how we would see how we would win. And then I'd like to go over the inherency now. Inherency in America right now is just tradition right now, because from the beginning, the framers created the Electoral College because many people were illiterate, and this was a time where there was very few states. There wasn't Texas, there wasn't California, there was all these small states, and there was a lot of illiterate people. So the Electoral College was made so we could have a more accurate depiction of what would be good for America, because a lot of people are illiterate. So again, they would not really know at a popular vote how to vote for a president. So they wanted to enforce the Electoral College to prevent popular vote from stemming over what a real democracy should look like. So that's what the original intent of the Electoral College was. Now, in today's time, we have huge states like California that have 55 representatives in the Electoral College, and that's a lot of people. And so we have to take into different consideration today on how the Electoral College should be distributed in terms of bigger states and in the bigger picture. Now, the significance of this is that this causes a lot of harm for voters, in effect, because a lot of Republicans in California that did vote for McCain aren't being properly represented. With such a big state, Democrats with just a majority of one extra vote can overcome all 55 of those electoral votes and go for the Democratic Party, but yet all those votes that the Republicans voted for in the Electoral College are totally taken out of consideration. And that's a big deal, because then there's a lot of misrepresentation of people in certain states. Now, again, more background is that you could see an example in 2000 with Gore and Bush. Gore had more popular votes, but Bush had more electoral votes. So there's a big dichotomy of where someone should really count on their vote for if it's not even going to count on popular vote. If Gore's not going to win based on popular vote, there has to be some different distribution or something to change to give the people a better voice in this regard. Now let's get into the harms here. The first one about keeping the Electoral College right now in this state today is the decrease of democratic process, because as we can see with California, there are still a minority of Republicans being represented in California, but those votes in the Electoral College aren't even going to be represented for them because the majority wins. And so the Democrats are getting all those votes, all 55 of those into the system, so Barack Obama will be winning on that case. And that's a big decrease on the representation of the democratic process of what we stand for in America. And now, the second harm is that the increase in voter apathy. People are going to be discouraged, in effect, to vote because they know that this is going to be a Democratic state or a Republican state, and they don't want to vote because they know their vote's not going to count. So it's really going to cause more apathy in this way for voters. Now, I'd like to get into my plan. The plan right now is to pass an amendment to shift the proportional voting in the Electoral College. In other words, a proportional allocation of electoral votes. So right now, we have 55 districts, and so we want to give each district their own separate Electoral College vote instead of a majority vote. We're going to count the 46th district as one proportional vote for all those people that live in the 46th district. So that vote will go on to the Democrats or the Republicans, and that will go cross-applied to every other district. They will have their individual voting counted on that specific district. So it will be more representative as in a holistic picture of California or any other section in the region of the United States. Yes.
Can you just restate the plan briefly?
Yes. Mandate to pass an amendment to shift to proportional voting in the Electoral College. And if I'm not clear, just keep on asking questions. I'll try to clarify. And the agent will be the Federal Election Committee, and enforcement will be Congress. And funding will be normal means of how anyone would pass an amendment in America today. And the timeline will be before the next national election cycle in the United States. And the solvency here is that we're really solving these two harms of we're actually increasing the democratic process. We are further representing the people in a more holistic picture. And we're also decreasing the voter apathy if people are going to be more represented in their smaller region. Let's get into the advantages now. First advantage being the increase in voter turnout. More people have their voices heard in result because they know that the concentration in their specific district will be heard. So they have more of an incentive to actually go out and vote in that specific district because they know that Electoral College vote that's going to be counted in that region will definitely be more represented than having a holistic majority of all of California. So it's going to motivate more people to vote in result, so it's going to decrease the voter apathy in that way, and it's going to increase the democratic process in result because people are going to be more represented. There's going to be more an incentive to get out there and vote for the next candidate. And so in result, we are increasing the voter turnout, and by the criteria, we are increasing the democratic process. And now let's get to the second advantage here. The minority votes will be more represented as well. As we've seen in America, we've always stood up for the minority. For example, back in the 1900s about women's rights to vote, we've always tried to abolish things that have gone against the minority. The issue of slavery, and recently gay rights. There's been a big push for gay rights as well. But the minority votes will be more represented. All those people that are in those little enclaves in Chinatown or those enclaves in Olvera Street, they're going to be more represented because those are a more different concentrated group of voters that have different mindsets for different values. And so when that specific region is taken care of for a different electoral vote than other parts in California, the minorities will also have an incentive to vote. We are upholding the minority standard of always helping the minority in the United States. So our creed of America of always upholding the minority and giving the minority a voice will definitely be upheld. And again, there will be more equality of all the minorities in the specific districts according to these new plans that we're implementing. And so the popular vote, again, is not going to be corrupted. It's actually going to be represented in a proper way within the Electoral College when we integrate both sides of the picture, the Electoral College and the popular vote, into one specific middle ground, so there's not a dichotomous separation of powers. And again, this also applies to the criteria, again, because we are increasing the democratic process, and we are representing the minority in this way, the minority that live in these unique regions and have different mindsets of values. They are going to be represented in that unique region of Chinatown and Olvera Street, and they'll definitely have the incentive to vote because they know their voices are going to be heard. So again, we're all about increasing the democratic process and always representing the voice of the minority in America. And so by voting for government, we are solving the criteria of increasing the democratic process today. Thank you.